This region around the Great Lakes has been called the heartland. When it comes to agriculture, there's hardly an area in the world that compares.
Everybody, just hold on. I don't know what we're gonna have here.
There's a lot of self-proclaimed geniuses out there that know the national yield, but they're all wrong.
Manage money, piling in.
Double digits higher.
At this point, we're in kind of uncharted territory.
There's a lot of money on the sidelines.
So that was a crazy one.
That's what brings the viewers back. That a boy.
Hello, good morning, welcome everyone. It is Friday, November 7th, and this is the AgYield War Room. I, of course, am AgYield Marketing Manager, everyone's favorite backup host, and guy who stands at the grill at a barbecue and states the obvious. Oh, that one's done. Oh, that one needs cheese. That one's ready for cheese. Jack Coakley. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to join the discussion any way you see fit. If you had to think of a question later and you want to get it over to us, we're always answering questions at info@agyield.com. Before we even get to the overnight numbers, we had some came through my desk the other day. We sent Dan. I don't like to air out his private life, but we sent Dan out on a private mission with the U.S. government to figure out the screwworm issue. He's been tapped by some of the highest paid and the biggest minds in the government, and he's working on solving the screwworm issue. When, wouldn't you know it, he gets stopped by ABC 7 Eyewitness News because they knew on-air talent when they saw it. Enough rambling from me. Let's take a look.
As the government shutdown continues on its record-breaking streak, the FAA now says flight capacity will be cut by up to 10% at 40 major airports across the country, including Chicago's O'Hare and Midway airports. Passengers now bracing for potentially thousands of delays and cancellations unless the shutdown is averted. Air traffic controllers and TSA officers have been unpaid for 6 weeks and are increasingly calling out sick, straining air travel.
This might be the last push that we need to get some things going in Washington and get this figured out.
I mean,
Wow.
and take a break from the spotlight. For
Yeah,
Right?
jeez.
Jeez. I mean, if anyone's going to end the freaking shutdown, it's Dan Dempsey.
Yeah, we sent him on a mission.
Yeah, we did. And, he was going to go fix the squirrel thing. He's going to end up reopening the government. Just,
It's amazing.
with his star factor. Anyway, Dan, hope you're well. We're holding down the fort for you over here. Anyway, let's go over to Brad with some overnight numbers.
Thanks, Jack. We got December corn, quarter lower was 428.5. January beans 11.14, that was 6.5 higher. And December Chicago wheat 3 3/4 lower at 531 3/4.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Brad. Again, just like yesterday, we have some new faces on the War Room today. Happy to bring Alex on stage for the first time. And as I said yesterday, with new faces come new segments. So I hope everyone's ready for the hot seat presented by AgYield. That's right. We're doing it again. You might not remember from yesterday, but I have a hat right here with a bunch of names in it. And I will pull out a name, and that person is in the hot seat.
Please be Brad again.
Please be Brad. It is Brad again. No, okay. It is Alex.
Oh, boy.
In the hot seat.
Okay, so Alex, in case you need to know how this show works or how this segment works,
Talk to me.
everyone here is going to ask you a grain market related question. It is your job to answer that question as accurately and thoughtfully as possible. Should anyone on this panel of question askers believe you're phoning in a question or you're not putting heart into it, they can put it up to a vote that, and if majority takes it, you get another question. So
I don't get a phone in?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
You are just answering questions today, and we will go in the order that you see on your screen. So Ryland, kick us off with the first question for Alex.
All right. Alex, is there anything that you've seen that would be new pertaining to this WASDE report that's coming up? Any new ways that they're going to change this one from the past?
I think they'll probably lower the national yield for beans. I think it'll probably be more around like a 52.5 number than a 53. And then I don't know with corn. some guys I've been talking to are saying, what could make corn bullish? I think if the acres are actually wrong. So I mean, a lot of guys are skeptical. How the hell did they find 2 million plus acres so late in the year? I don't know if they're the ones who would backtrack, but maybe they do. Maybe they say, hey, I think we jumped the gun a little bit.
I'd like to add something to that, what Alex said. And it kind of touches on something that Dustin had brought up a few weeks ago. The excess corn, we talk about this 900 million number as potentially being over and above anything we brought in the past. And a lot of that corn is in Kansas, Dakotas, Nebraska, not necessarily tributary to the river. And we have a river contract. And we have seen one of the most rapid basis appreciations in corn and bean both in the East over the last 30 days in recent memory. So I think it's not out of the question to think that maybe we got something wrong with acres, or that the demand is just so good that they're having to really reach for it. I think there's a lot of things that play into it, but that also would lend itself to why wheat was really so poor during corn harvest. Is they had a good wheat crop out there, followed by a massive corn crop where a lot of wheat's grown, and there could have been a flush there to make space for some more corn. So just especially with wheat spreads not being that wide. So I don't mean to steal Alex's spotlight and welcome to the show, but I think it's a reasonable consideration. I don't know that we'll get that adjustment on this report, but who knows? We haven't had data for will be over 6 weeks by the time we get there. So
Alex, your seat is hot, but Ben's is hotter. What can I say? Any other questions for Alex?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
Come on, you got an expert on the line here.
What do you think in the ag complex?
Yep.
Corn, beans, meal, oil, rice, whatever it is. Which month do you think is the cheapest commodity on the board? So, for example,
like relatively or
relatively speaking, if you're looking at the big picture, what do you think is the cheapest one on the board? This is a little bit of a complex question. I'm gonna give you a multiple choice because I'm not a stickler like Jack is.
I don't think it's corn or beans. I think corn's been resilient. I think beans had a rally.
But okay, so let me rephrase the question.
What's got the most upside?
Thank you, Ryland. Thank you.
Okay.
You're like Ed McMahon.
Really. I'm just here to back you up.
What is it? I'm going to give you 4 choices. Is it Nov 26 beans, D's 26 corn, March 26 wheat, or January meal?
Okay. What's meal at? I don't even know.
That's a wrong answer. You're supposed to immediately scoop that one off.
You're supposed to say wheat, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would say beans or wheat. The thing about wheat, I mean, I look at wheat, I don't really, I guess no one gets it, so I'm in the same boat with everyone else.
Well said.
Yes, no one gets it.
I feel like it should probably be a lot higher considering, I mean, if Russia and Ukraine are getting a deal done, then I would expect, there'd be more wheat out there, and so I would expect that price would probably go down, but I don't know. I don't know if they'll get anything done.
I'm gonna just go ahead and volunteer. I think these 26 is still the cheapest thing on the board, relatively speaking. And I think beans have a big rally in them, but I think these 26 is mispriced only because of spreads. And if we ship the amount of beans that they say we're going to, I think we have a legitimate acreage concern for corn and beans following 2 record crops in the U.S. and then Safrina, and being at 463, probably below the cost of production by quite a bit for some people. So
do you think there's gonna be a lot of corn that's bleeding into next year though? Because like if a lot of guys are gonna like store it and sit on it,
it's a great point. if we reduce our acres and we get a lower yield and we're doing great business, that story will be written. But if you look at Dees trading at 35 cents with 99 million acres of corn and a 180 yield, maybe it all shows up in delivery or towards the last couple of weeks, but that's pretty narrow considering the parameters that we work with today. That's what I think.
Love it. Well, this concludes the hot AgYield. Anyway, Ben, you seem to be on a roll. Do you have anything else you want to talk about today?
I think that there was a big liquidation that happened yesterday across the grains, and a lot of it seems to have been options related. I think this is kind of maybe we always say the turns are hard, and the short vol has been the game for a while, and you can overwhelm these markets if you've got diamond hands to be as short maybe as some people were. But certainly in soybeans, they got the buzzer to get out. So yeah, I don't know. I would love to see us push corn, through some 8 or 9 cents above. We see every time we sell weakness in corn, someone sells it. It seems like there's almost instant regret the next day. I can't say that's going to be the case today. I still think we have to deal with delivery. See just maybe a pickup in volatility here again. We went back a couple weeks ago, and I felt like that was going to be the case. We're starting to see a little bit wider ranges. Beans are kind of all over the place. So hopefully it leads to good trade. And I hope that we do not get a wet blanket thrown on these markets on the WASDE report. And that is a day where, we typically say, you probably shouldn't touch your mouse in the first hour of trade and let things sort out. It may be a day or two in this case for people to sort through the amount of data that we get. And if they add anything additional in there, which I would not expect an acreage adjustment at this point, but I wouldn't rule it out either. So,
hey Ben, speaking of the WASDE though, next Friday, now that they're actually USDA is going to have field survey data coming in too, along with the farmer surveys. What do you think that could bring into the WASDE next Friday?
Well, in plebeian mind thought is that maybe because of all of the rain that we had, and a big component of it being satellite data and greenery, that maybe we overshot it, and there was some issues with the crop because too much of anything is not always a good thing, right? And maybe there is a bigger adjustment out there. Talking to my customers in the East, I certainly do not think that Indiana and Ohio are record yields. I think they're below what we've seen on previous reports. So just speaking from this quadrant of the grain belt, and I think the big one is how much corn have we sold, right? How much corn did we sell? There's something that's not, in my opinion, is not jiving. Traditionally, we'd go back to, well, now we got the crop insurance out of the way, and it's probably take corn to Pound Town, right? But it's acted well. The cash markets have appreciated tremendously over the last few weeks. I don't think that's a lie. I think that can be a true representation of what we're doing. So I think that's just outside of, we always think in terms of how big is the crop and yield and defining supply. And that's certainly an important part of trying to look at the big picture. But how big has the demand been for corn? And that may be a number. I'm hoping that's a number that shocks us, and I hope that we get a lower than expected yield, and we can get back to that balance that we've talked about, having to compete with beans maybe a little bit quicker than we'd anticipated. Turns are hard in markets, and we've gotten some positive data lately, some positive news from the government, supportive, and I hope that we can turn that. Lower interest rates, but again, we still have to deal with corn first notice day. If in fact we did plant 99 million acres, which that number should be pretty solid right now, but we don't know because the FSA offices, by all accords, were definitely struggling through this period. So, I know that's a mouthful, but this report is going to be a mouthful. So we'll see how it shakes out. Cash markets don't lie. At what point are all the needs met and all of a sudden the bid's gone? That's a possibility too. You get a leg sweep. So we'll see. I'm excited for next week. I don't like the wheat failure of getting above 50-day moving average and then kind of having a bar for the last couple of days. I would like to see it recover. So.
Well, just to add to that, I mean, Ben, do you think, that you kind of have to see a drop in yields, I think, at this stage in the game to kind of justify either a next leg higher or justify where we're at right now? I mean, you've thrown a lot of really good news at the market. You throw really good demand sentiment at beans, really good demand sentiment at corn. You've got everybody kind of anecdotally saying yields are below last year in the I states. I mean, do we have to justify where we're at, or is this really, if we do see things come down, even closer to like a 180 corn yield? I mean, how bullish is that, at this stage in the game?
That's a good question, Ryland. I think we need to see it. But even if corn is to set back, until further notice, we have buyers on breaks, right? Can we break 10, 15, 20 cents into first notice day? Without question. We can do that whether the yield is 182 or 188. If we get a higher yield, we might expedite the process in getting there and have a repricing, just a quick repricing event. But ultimately, I mentioned this before, I think that the end user as well has kind of they were probably expecting much lower prices in gut slot harvest for fall to be able to get their needs. And then the mindset of hand to mouth, I'm here, I'm good to go, I don't have to chase corn higher. And certainly there was a lot of corn bought by end users on the break, but like anything else, everything has a shelf life. So I think there's buyers below the corn market. My opinion is that we will find aggressive buyers, even with a big yield. I think we find aggressive buyers 405 to 410. 418 is a really big number. And then at what point does, who kind of, at this point in the calendar year, the natural flow of grain, gut slot harvest with 9 million acres, we've rallied into it. So at some point, people are going to be coring their bins. It's not going to make sense for them to deliver against December when they're looking at picking up 14 cents to go to March. Maybe the last half of the year, from first notice day into December, maybe we can get a little bit more excitement. I think the growers had diamond hands and holding onto his corn, finding places to stick it. And the world will keep moving with processors, with feed, and with what has been a good export pace. We just don't know how good. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, comments from our friend James Costello. This WASD got everyone amped up for it.
No question about it.
No question about it. Ryland, real quick, let's talk livestock.
Yeah, we're protein market still in trouble here. Yesterday, new lows for the move in both places, and right now, I think everybody's waiting to see where the bottom really is. You've really changed the sentiment on the cattle side of the market. We have seen cash markets start to drift lower here. A little bit of cash trade at 230 in Texas and Kansas, 228 in the north. So still just about two lower. So it seems like the board's really just kind of in a tough spot here. It seems like it's been easy to try to, the market is letting everybody buy this thing, and that always makes me a little bit nervous here that there could be just another kind of massive liquidation, around the corner. And we're below all the major moving averages now, and it's just been a big liquidation. So with the administration, we haven't gotten really any clear indication of what's going to happen as far as the border, but that is obviously what is the market's really scared of right now is the imports from Argentina. If we roll back tariffs on Brazil, there's a lot of things that have just really kind of changed the overall sentiment. So hopefully we can find some stability and it's not just straight down. But we are getting oversold, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a bounce here. It just feels like the perceptions kind of changed a little bit. So we expect to see some more cash trade today. Hopefully things can kind of stay around where they are. And with the Goldman roll going on, I imagine that it's going to stay pretty volatile just over the next week. So on the hog side of things, still a new low for the move. No real end in sight there. And, cash markets were down $1.69 at 84.31. So we still got this big discount here on the board here. It doesn't look that big anymore, but overall, we've got these hogs slip below the $80 level. And it just feels very oversold. Question is managed money building some kind of a short position? Or are they entirely out? I mean, I think we're flying a little blind, and I think everybody agrees a glimpse of the commitment of traders would be really nice about now, just to see how the specs are kind of leaning. But as of right now, we got really is the price here, and just kind of seasonally, it looks like cash is still going to kind of trend lower here. So more to come. And at this point, looking for a recovery bounce to sell.
Thanks for that, Ryland. It is Friday. So, I mean, does this segment even need an introduction? I mean, it's everyone's favorite segment. It's Fun Fact Friday. Brian, take it away.
Oh, Brad wanted to do it today, so I'm passing it over. Yeah.
All right, Brad, you're up. Let's bring him up.
No.
Okay.
I'm just messing with Brad. I saw him squirm yesterday. I wanted to see him squirm again.
Yeah,
today, but
I was going to shut my screen off there.
Happy Friday, everybody. We've been talking about China, it seems, for months now. So I thought, let's do some Friday fun facts about China. So we'll start off with the fortune cookie. Those crispy little wisdom bombs weren't whipped up in some ancient temple, but actually in San Francisco in the 1900s by Japanese immigrants who slapped the Chinese label on it for the little tourist bait. So I opened up a fortune cookie yesterday. This is my weird fortune. Confucius say, man who stands on toilet is high on pot. So go with that one.
There you go.
Yeah. There's actually cave dwellers in the 21st century in China. 35 million folks, more than Canada's entire population, still lives in these cozy caves. What did the government do? They put electricity into them instead of actually moving them into apartments. So that's a kind of a strange one there. There's a dwarf Wonderland theme park. The Kingdom of Little People. Over 100 dwarfs perform breakdancing Swan Lake ballets on a massive 13,000 acre lot, complete with tiny fruit trees and tiny dogs.
Wow.
Soak that one in. That's like a strange Disneyland there.
That's awesome.
This one's right up Ryland's alley. Forget dinner? No problem. Subway station in Yangjing dispense fresh crabs for $4 a pop out of a vending machine.
It's a little stiff.
Yummy.
and lastly, this one's for Jack. Traditional Kangdang-ku are split crotch pants to let toddlers pee freely without diapers, turning public parks into impromptu fountains. So
you could use a pair of those.
Yeah. At least Lenny.
This is part 1 of 6. We could go on for hours about China's fun facts. So happy Friday, everybody. Have a great weekend and be safe out there.
Happy Friday.
Thanks, Brian. My wife keeps complaining we haven't gone on a trip in forever. We're going to dwarf Disneyland in China now.
Yeah.
I mean, with wearing King Dunkus.
Right. Wearing the pants. Anyway, if you love the show as much as we love putting it on, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Helps us out with the YouTube algorithms. It helps get the show out to a wider audience. So thanks for everyone for tuning in and sending in your comments. Thanks to James for putting in some comments today. We're doing this show every day that the markets are open on X, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live at 8:15 Central Time. Appreciate the thoughts and comments today, everyone. Hopefully, Dan will be back on Monday if his flight comes back from Mexico. So you might see me on Monday. We'll find out. So everyone have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
The War Room is proudly presented by AgYield. For over 50 years, the AgYield team has provided grain marketing and risk management solutions for growers across the country. Our veteran consultants harness cutting-edge technologies to pinpoint risk, optimize market performance, and protect your farm's profitability. Discover a new approach to farm revenue management at agyield.com.
Hey guys, Jack here. Be sure to support the show by hitting the like button, leaving us a comment, and subscribing to the channel for all the latest updates. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.